Hello and welcome back to Exeter City, where we've got an FA Cup final for you today. The first cup final of this series, Exeter City's first ever FA Cup final. 4 games in the Premier League still had to be done. I'll get you caught up on those first. They went pretty much as you would expect. We drew with West Ham 1-1, and then we lost to a performing Everton side. We did take the lead in that one, which does make it slightly awkward, and the fact they scored 3 goals in 8 minutes, particularly annoying as well. But they are in 6th at the end of the season, so away from home, it's an unsurprising loss. We also lost to Man United at home. Man United reacquired Memphis Depay at some point, didn't notice it. Obviously very much noticed it during the match as he scored twice. And then away at St James's Park to conclude the season, we provided a greatest hits with the fact that we conceded a cheap goal, and then Fofana, Eduardo and Prieto scored. Prieto, not to go 4 games without a goal, got one in the 90th minute there. Hadn't scored in the 3 before it, so glad he decided to get another one at the very end there, to take his tie to 13 for the season in just 16 appearances. 5 assists as well now. He assisted both the other goals in that game, which means you would have noticed it at the very top there, we have finished 10th. We got 6 more points than last year. I was saying, if we'd only got 3 more points than last year, we'd have actually finished 12th, lower than last year. So I'm glad we got that final day win, which got us into 10th, a new record high. We were sort of comfortably behind Leeds in the end, 4 points, and way more comfortably behind Wolves and Chelsea and Everton. So there's still a little bit of a gap to actual European spots. Although, of course, we could get it today with the FA Cup final. Just notice that Depay actually was the top goal scorer, the Golden Boot for the Premier League in the end. You're welcome for those 2 goals. Arsenal finishing 11 points clear in the end. They do have a Champions League final to contend with. And with Spurs finishing second, Arsenal and Spurs first and second. Who'd have thought it? But with Spurs finishing second, it's only Everton they can deny European football if they let us win, which I somehow doubt they're going to do considering they're on for the treble. But on the flip side, they've played a heck of a lot more games than we have, so fingers crossed they're a little tired. I thought I'd bring you back in the build-up here. We do have a pre-match press conference to do, the likely talking points, the build-up to the cup final. Whatever would I do without my press officer, eh? Well, duh. Hold a team meeting, Glenn, who did actually complete his Continental A. I actually thought he was further back in the qualifications. He's only got Continental Pro to go, which he's not going to end up being a sensational assistant manager, but he's going to end up being a pretty damn good one once that's all said and done. I don't know what the attribute jump is going to be in that final stage, but he's on 15 people management now, and his judging not too bad, and as a coach he's pretty solid too, with attacking and mental on the tactical side of things. So he's pretty competent, all things considered, but we'll get him that Continental Pro. His model citizen is something I'm really hoping he's going to rub off a little bit. I know he's not, I don't really know how the assistant manager personality affects the squad as a whole, but I'm hoping it has some effect, mainly because Che Dunkley was sacked by Chesterfield, and his coaching qualifications are miles off, and he very much could become a very good manager / assistant manager down the line. The narrative's there. The narrative's there to bring Che Dunkley, and it's up to me to try and resist that. But they want me to ease the pressure, which makes sense. Apologies there, just noticed my lights were a lot brighter than normal. I know my face isn't the most important part of this, but it probably annoyed someone. Annoyed me. And the lineup today for this all-important final, I'm taking a minor risk by switching the fullbacks to wing-backs here. Just don't know. Got to go for it, haven't you? Sanchez in goal, Martin, Avalos, Ballard, Castillo in. Castillo versus Johnny's an awkward one because neither have performed fantastically well over the course of the season. I thought Johnny was doing pretty well, but he isn't. Toussaint. Again, Toussaint's performances haven't been great, but he was fantastic in the half-back role when he was playing there. He was forced slightly further forward a little bit later on. So back in the half-back role, Markovic, Fofana, Mansley, Prieto and Carlos Eduardo up front, of course. And Castillo the only change from the last game, in which we beat Newcastle 3-1 away from home. The Arsenal team is surprisingly still the Arsenal team. 6 years on, the entire back 4 and the entire attacking midfield 3 are still the same Arsenal players as they are right now. Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel, Tierney, Saka, Odegaard and Smith Rowe. Only the up-front striker in Zapata, who's 36 now, and the midfield pair of Neves and Fabian. And the goalkeeper today, he might be the number 1, but Ramsdale is their starter. I think Ramsdale must just have a favoured number of 32. Or maybe Muller has a favoured number of number 1, and Ramsdale's accommodated. Either way, Ramsdale is their number 1 goalkeeper. So in most cases, they've only got 3 different players, Fabian, Neves and Zapata, although their bench is largely different. We don't come into this on the greatest of form, actually. 2 draws, 2 losses and then a win. finally, for a tiny uptick in morale, hopefully, as we go to a packed Wembley again, because of course the semi-final was held here against now relegated Bournemouth. I don't think they have anyone worth stealing, although I think they did have someone surprising when we played them. Prieto is in, and Prieto, their goalkeeper's well off his line. Prieto just took it a little bit too far. White with excellent defensive chaperoning there. Shepherding. Both work, actually, I think, as a verb. And the first chance is ours, surprisingly. But I'll sort of quickly get back on top of things statistics-wise. 21 minutes in, that remains the only highlight so far. Avalos and Toussaint booked. Pure footballing brilliance by Arsenal, says the text at the bottom. We haven't seen it. Tomiyasu with a throw-in their half. Odegaard very deep to collect that. Saka, well moved. Neves, just hurting them a little bit, but they are avoiding all things. Zapata's, that's an excellent challenge by Ballard. It has defied physics, but excellent challenge. An interception. But they are back on the ball, our Arsenal, and Tomiyasu's being forced out wide here. Crosses. We know how they go in Football Manager this year. Odegaard, Neves. Back to Fabian. He's gone from distance, and that was the highlight. Sanchez probably should have reacted quick enough to stop that going out for a corner, but good save nonetheless. Probably a little unsighted. Odegaard, Gabriel. Haven't done much since that first moment. Mansley, with an option here of Avalos, wasn't far away. I do believe we are playing for set pieces. Obviously trying to make the most of our 2 6'8"ers, even though so far not gone brilliantly. Well, that was poor from Ballard. I don't really know as a central defender why he's just done that, rather than playing a sensible pass and, oh look, it's resulted in a goal. Once again, defenders doing something stupid with the ball, resulting in their goal. Just Ballard there with less risk on his instruction list, deciding to kick it straight to their defence. I mean, what are you supposed to do in this situation? I cannot instruct my defender to not do that any harder. We're on shorter passing, less risk, not even ball playing central defender, and he still does that nonsense. I'm actually going to tell them they've been terrible, even though they haven't technically been that terrible, but it has got up the reaction I wanted from the team. Markovic in a bit of space here, although will be quickly closed down, and for some reason he's gone for that. Can't help but feel that wasn't the main part of the highlight. Markovic wasn't really with a great shout of a goal there, so Avalos doesn't get that either. Aaron Martin waiting. Okay, never mind then. Oh good, Ruben Neves over a free kick. This concerns me. Goalkeeper didn't react, but thankfully he missed. I'm particularly loving that back line of 6.3, 6.6, 6.3 and 6.8. Martin the only one coming out of that with a modicum of respect at this point in time. In fact, Johnny's coming on. Doesn't matter who starts, they'll just get 6.3, and then whoever comes on tends to fare a little bit better. It's weird why number 15 there didn't intercept that ball that he was very much primed to do so there. I do not know, and I mean, if that resulted in a goal, I would have cried probably, because that was stupid. And Toussaint on a 6.4 and booked as well concerns me hugely. Sangare's on the bench, and they scored from a corner, have they? What a surprise. Football Manager bringing out the classics to punish me in this cup final. We're not good enough for Europe, I don't think, but it would have been nice. I can't tell who headed the ball to Saka there. It has highlighted White in the highlight itself, so I think it might have been their defender providing the assist. Either way, it's poor defending. Esham's going to come on for Mansley, who was also got a lot of people on bookings, even though we're not telling them to sort of do anything harder. They need to score a third via Barbosa. Hesham actually had to clear off the line, and this is still in play, but I do wonder if we've seen the main part of it. 15 minutes to go. We've got to get 2 goals, and I don't really know how we're going to do it. Gabriel to Asensio, who's come on. Saka puts the ball in. That felt like it was going to be an easy tap-in, but only Carlos Eduardo up. I don't really know why. Tomiyasu got that ball very easily, and now it's 3. It would be nice if we did something that resembled defending. They had like 3 nailed-on goals there. That's the second of them, and then, oh good, we'll just leave Smith Rowe entirely abandoned. Good work there, team. Good work. We've made 3 substitutions. I can't take any more players off. Like, we deserve to lose this at this point, just on the pure XG alone, but we've not been entirely out of it, which is the depressing part, because the scoreline doesn't reflect the game right now, and they're probably about to score a 4th. Fabian, might as well. You're 3-0 up. Oh, and Avalos has just been injured in the dying moments. He's already on a 6.2 and a booking, so this is only going to go well. Eduardo for a consolation. He's offside. I don't know why they haven't flagged him earlier on. Oh, he isn't offside. He just celebrated as if he was offside. In the sense that he didn't celebrate. I mean, it's brilliant from Markovic. Credit to the assist there. Oh, 4-1 then. Ward-Prowse on the corner. It's headed clear, at least. Asensio is first to it, of course, because they always will be. Well, we got the goal. We've got the goal we deserved, which was kind of what I was moaning about before we actually scored it. It's a shame because we did beat Arsenal in the league season. That was at quote unquote home, and we've got the ball back here in the dying seconds. If we can get the ball up to Eduardo to get a third or second, he was in there. Why have you called it? No, we're not going to win it, but make it 3-2 at least. But also win the FA Cup for the 15th time. They do deserve it. Why does their manager get to stand on the? Whenever I win a cup, I have to stand off the side here. Also, I don't know why he's got red glasses. That seems weird. Oh wait, that wasn't the manager. That man is not the man who was on the stage. And actually, by the end of the game, after they scored the goal, they actually got enough XG to make it warranted 3-1. Still 900 grand for losing, and we are the highest overachievers. I don't think it's that dramatic for a Premier League team to reach the final, but of course we should get the end of season review very shortly. And speak of it, and it shall arrive. 26-27 season, end of season review. The new arrivals, of course Prieto takes everything. The board are content with the deal to sign Prieto. It says 9 million, but only 6 of it was up front. Of course, the price tags here include all potential options, which of course, for the majority of them, haven't been triggered. It's only 6 million up front for Prieto. I think Eduardo up front is only 10 or 12. Might be 12.5 up front with 2 sets of 2.5. Even Fofana isn't 2.7 up front. Ballard definitely isn't 24.5 up front. So yeah, ignore a lot of these. Toussaint's only 10 million up front. Avalos still hasn't got a work permit, by the way. He's very, very close to being better than Sanchez, which is super annoying. But top our finish, of course, actually 10th. That is a milestone in its own regard. Last year was only 11th, so we just missed it. Carlos Eduardo, I don't know what's happening here. Carlos Eduardo ended up with more league goals than Prieto by 1. And I think next year will be the first year that we're not fight bravely against relegation, because we're now predicted around 200 to 1. We're now predicted into this 13th, 14th, 15th block. Goal of the season was against Everton at the start of the season. Not sure about that one. I can't remember it. No new sponsorship deals, but I'm probably wrong about that. It's increased on here, so clearly lying. And the overall team is Sanchez, Martin, Ballard, Avalos. They're the wrong way around for some reason. Johnny at right back, Sangre, Fofana, Mansley, Markovic. Toussaint doesn't get a look in. And Eduardo and Prieto. Prieto played enough games to get into this at least. Player of the season was Aaron Martin, surprisingly. Signing the season was Prieto, thankfully. Carlos Eduardo actually joined Prieto on 13 goals for the entire season. Martin ended up with the highest average rating, which I think is a lie, because Prieto did end up with a higher average rating. Game time must be a factor in that. And Martin, now 30, of course. We are going to have to start looking at a replacement for Martin, but he's got 1 or 2 more years before we have to consider that fully. Sanchez, finally, in the best 11, as is Markovic, actually, as well, who only joins the bench at this stage. Sule and Morton holding out. Matt J and Tom Ince in this formation, which is now not we play. I'm going to play a different formation next year. I'll bring you to that one shortly. The Exeter best 11, where are they now? We've started getting this now in the end of season review. Tyler Morton was at Sheffield United this year, as was Cameron Dawson, our first year goalkeeper. Josh Key actually went to Chesterfield. I forgot about that. And now I understand the importance though, because he left in January for money when he was going at the end of the season anyway. Oh no, he left last year in January when he was going at the end of the season anyway for 150 grand. Chesterfield then signed him from Preston. But of course Chesterfield were managed by Che Dunkley, his former teammate. Narrative. Kelly Roos is at Sutton United. Blimey, he's fallen down. Tom Ince wishes to be a loan manager. Something ironic about that, really, isn't there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just the 6 loans for Tom Ince over his career. And I just realised that he went to Chesterfield when he left on a free at the end of the 2024 season, 25 season. He then managed a year later by Che Dunkley, I think. Did he cross over there? I don't know. Might have just missed him. Some of our first season players, let's see where they are now. We know that Beereth is doing terribly at Tanana. Brandon Fleming is at Derby. Sam Stubbs at Peterborough. Matt J obviously be loaned to Coventry. He still belongs to us. Partridge at Carlisle. Sule's at Rivers United. He came back for Matt J's testimonial. Sam Nombe at Bristol Rovers. Giovanni Brown at Crawley. Archie at Derry. Conor McLaughlin at Coleraine. Pierce Sweeney plays for Cork. A lot of them in Ireland. Timothy Dieng at Le Puy Football 43 Auvergne. Kieran Phillips. Don't actually remember him. At Dagenham at Redbridge. Jake Caprice at Telford. Really? Oh, he's 34 now. And Telford are in the Vanarama, so it's not as drastic as I thought that was. Baba Fernandez and Marcus Barnes. Baba Fernandez is retired from football at 24. He only played football for me and then never got picked up when he was released by Forest. Marcus Barnes retired at 28 as well. Oh well, yeah. Avoid a relegation battle is this year's vision, which I think is basically finish 16th comfortably. Top half, mid-table. Avoid a fight against relegation to stay up comfortably. I think it's this one. Lovely. That one wasn't as obvious as the previous ones. Do I get to choose where we get to go? Nope, still don't get to choose that. See if there's any further news. Of course, the budgets, which aren't going to be as good as last year's, I don't think. We've got a soft drinks partnership. So we did get a new sponsorship deal. Liars. Passion, Markovic, Mansley, Saunders and Carlos Eduardo, the 5 biggest shirt sales. See, that's the maximum it can be. 50 million in the transfer budget is more than I was anticipating, although I think 950 grand isn't that much more. No, it isn't. We do have 55 million in the bank right now, so sensible budget, actually. And we're now category 1 in the youth rating. All things considered, as a club, 16, 16, 20 and 15, that youth recruitment should be going up as well. I did manage to get that to go up over the course of the season too, late on. Ah yes, I'll just click through a bit further just to see if there's any further bits of end of season news. I almost forgot to mention that our 2 strikers out on loan. Looks like Sunderland actually fell into the playoffs as he's now playing in the playoffs and scoring in the playoffs. He's ended up with 22 goals in 49 appearances for Sunderland. And as a Newcastle fan, I'm kind of glad they didn't get automatic promotion, but they aren't going to be playing against Southampton, who have been out of this top division for far too long. Palace and Sheffield United coming back up automatically. I'll let you know which of those come back. But Wrexham versus Morecambe is the League 2 playoff. Notably though, Lincoln won. Benavide sneaking into 3rd into the top goal scorers in League 2, worth 20 odd million. He's out of contract at the end of next year. Might have an extension on it. He does. I'm going to trigger that and probably send him back to Lincoln again. But we'll just sort the team by average rating. I don't have because obviously everything got reset. I've lost my full-on statistics view for the time being, but I've foolishly forgotten to reintroduce my view for that. So we'll just run off the average rating. Aaron Martin, the best player with more than 3,000 minutes, but Prieto leads the way. Martin, Eduardo, Saunders, Kuzu and his 2 substitute appearances got 7.15. Sangre Uribe, maybe I should have started Sangre and not Toussaint. He actually had a much better season than I gave him credit for there. Uribe, Mansley, Sanchez, the goalkeeper, Markovic, Tiggers and John Stones, all with a 7 or above rating. Fofana on a 6. Fofana was only on a 6.99 despite scoring 8 goals from midfield in a team in which the best goal scorer was 13. 2 of them, but still 13. How surprising. But if you order it by goals, you can see Carlos Eduardo on 13 as a striker. It's hard to tell how many of those were from headers or not, just off this basis alone. But Eric Avalos scored twice. And one of those wasn't even a header. It was a tap-in from a corner. But now, most of these players will be a lot more settled in next year, so we should be able to hit the ground running with this lot. No one's really in danger of aging out of this squad other than maybe John Stones, but Ballard and Avalos is probably a better pairing to begin with anyway, because John Stones and Avalos don't get on for whatever reason. But yeah, no one's really in super danger of aging out at all. Martin and Toussaint on 30 years apiece, but that's about it. They're still going to be in their prime for another 2 years or so, at least. My only major concerns are that Sangre and Martin, in particular, their contracts run out at the end of next year. Arsby's runs out at the end of next year as well. You didn't see him this year. That's why. We found what his level is, and it's probably not the Premier League in the end. So we might be able to get a little bit of money for him. He's probably one that we're going to actively try and sell this year. Uribe has an extension clause, but I kind of want to give him a new contract anyway to get rid of his release fee. Everyone else is contracted for longer. So new contracts for Sangre and Martin, I imagine, along with Uribe if we can. Arsby probably looking to be sold, and that's basically it. Ola Aina, we're going to have to do something with right back as well. And I did say it, we're going to switch tactics next year. For someone who plays Football Manager a lot, I don't really fall into the trap of signing too many strikers that often. I fall into the trap of it here. So with that in mind, we're going to be playing 3 up top next year. I'm going for it. Why not? Not going to lie, this is primarily based off the Clates tactic. I have tweeted for my own benefit. We'll see if it works this way around. I will create a version of it in which we have the shadow striker rather than the deep line player. But I'm going to run it like this. Right back is basically my only major concern, along with maybe left back. Casillas fine to be a backup. Martin is fine to be a starter if we can get an improvement, and then maybe move Thierry Small on as well, who I haven't really given enough game time to, I don't think. He's still got that development space, but it's nowhere near as dramatic as I thought it was going to be. And Bayer Leverkusen want him. At the same time, he's still contracted as a breakthrough prospect. We'll see how that one pans out. But yeah, how do I solve a problem like Ciro Fernandez? Is by playing 3 strikers. Because if you pop on him, he's got a very strong left foot. He's only 5'9", so he's not really the target one, but he's got a very strong left foot, and his mentals, particularly aggression, which is good for pressing forward, and his bravery, are pretty competent. So Ciro Fernandez will pop in on that left-hand side, with Prieto through the middle and Carlos Eduardo on the right-hand side, although sometimes you do want the tall man in the middle. He is 6'1", he'll do, but Prieto is very much more the advance rather than the presser. So with that in mind, I will finish the season off here. Until then, I'll see you again for next season, where I'm not expecting a massive evolution rather than revolution, I think. Let me know what you think, let me know how you think this is going so far. To be honest, after being promoted 3 times, I was concerned this was going to rattle through all the achievements very quickly. But we've sort of paced ourselves in the Premier League to a degree that I'm happy, just from a content creation point of view, I'm happy. Just the pace has slowed down. It's got a lot more realistic in the Premier League. Next year feels like the season we can press on and push for that Europe legitimately rather than just through a cup. Although, cup would be nice. Until next time, thank you for watching. Ciao.